Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. So today, I think I told you guys on Tuesday night, Tom is away on a business trip, and I have Sami back there helping me. Thank you, Sami. But Tom took the music with him because it's all on his computer. So we don't have any music when he's not here. We also don't have our sound effects. And normally we don't have a word of the day, but I came up with a word of the day. The other night, Tom and I were sitting at the kitchen counter talking about something, and I happened to say a word, and he's like, I'm going to use that for a word of the day. So I'm going to steal it because he's not here to tell me I can't. So I'll have a word of the day a little bit later, but it is great to see all of you. And we thank you so much for being here. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be playing with the Radiant. Why am I so close up? My gosh, let me back myself up a little bit here. Let me do this. Tom usually does that. There we go. I don't need to be that close. For those of you watching on a big screen, my face was like 2.5 feet across. We're going to be playing with this today, which is the Radiant Rose stencil from the new Radiant Roses bundle. And this is such a fun stencil because it is a two-step where you do the flowers first and you do the leafery, the green stuff second. But it looks like there's only one way to use it, but there's not. There's lots of ways to use this stencil, and you can definitely create a beautiful background using a stencil like this. So, oh, look at everybody coming in. It is so great to see you. We're broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook today. And thank you. My hair, Rena did my hair, finally got my roots done. I appreciate all the kind words. All right, so why don't we get started right away? Now, I am going to start with a piece of white cardstock, so we can go over to the overhead. And I am going to, let's see here. That's probably too close too. No, maybe not. So I'm going to cut this down. Now, you could also do the stenciling first and then cut this out with master layouts too. But I'm going to, and I'll probably do that, but I'm going to first cut it down to at least close to the size that I want. This way, as I do my stenciling, I know where to contain my images. So let's see how big this is. I'm going to do it this way. I know this seems like a waste of paper, but I do want it to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go about 5 inches by 3 3/4 inch for this. Oh, it's great to see everybody coming in. My desktop is a mess. I've got foil everywhere from our foil video on Tuesday night. I probably should clean all of this up with my tidy towel. It's everywhere. I've got ink everywhere. There we go. Okay. And by the way, if you guys haven't tried the new tidy towel, this thing is a monster. We've been getting rave reviews on this. It is thick, it is soft, and it really holds together well. And the good news is when we asked them to do an upgraded version for us, we did not pass that additional cost on to you guys. So we did not change the price of the tidy towel. It is still a very, very good price. Okay, so this stencil, the Radiant Roses, is not a 6x6. It's a little bit smaller than that, but we really didn't want to waste all of the plastic. They work beautifully together. As you can see, they layer together to create a perfect rose stencil. This is such a nice design to curve around the corner of a piece of cardstock or to use on scrapbook pages or for home decor. But you can use this in other ways, and that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to start that towel. Vicky said she could use it for a shower afterwards. Right, Vicky? It's so thick and soft and plush. I just love it. I'm really, really, really happy with it. So let me grab a couple of ink pads here. I should have had this ready beforehand, but I'm going to use some Tangerine Twist and Passionate Pink. Now, when I say that, I'm going to use a very light hand. So if you're really heavy-handed, you could switch these colors to something more like Dusty Rose and peach Bellini or sweet mango, something like that. But I'm going to use these two colors and just use a light hand. And let me get one more color. I think Stormy Sky is going to be my other color that I'm going to use. So I'm excited about this one, guys. This color combination, I was playing around with it the other day because I was getting a little bit ahead on some videos. And I just found this color combination to be beautiful. It still has a really pretty springiness about it, but it also, it's not so cheerful that you could use it for a sympathy card or something like that as well, which I love that idea, to have versatile color combinations. Okay, and I'm going to use a little masking magic for this stencil just to hold it down and just to block off this edge right here. So I'm just going to place my stencil right here. Actually, I may go, I think that'll be all right because I'm going to cut this out with master layouts too. So let me grab that die just to make sure that I'm going to be able to cut this off in the right spot. Yeah, I think that'll cut off. I think I might move it over to this way, to the left just a little bit more, like right about there. So I'm just taking this petal right to the edge because I do want to cut some of that off. Alrighty. I think that looks pretty good. And then I'm using masking magic. If you don't have masking magic, you can certainly use something like Post-it notes to hold it down, and then a little washi tape to hold the top and the bottom down. Masking magic is very low tack. It does stay in place, but if you're vigorous with your ink blending, you may want to add a little washi tape to the mix. Okay, so now I am going to start with a little bit of passionate pink, very, very light-handed with the passionate pink. So I'm going to just put a little ink. I'm not even pressing hard on that, and I'm actually going to dust a little bit of it off. So I'm going to start in the middle of each of these flowers, and I'm going to work my way toward the edges. And as I work my way toward the edges, I'm going to have even a lighter hand. So I'm starting in the center here, and then as I work my way out, even a lighter hand. You can see how light that is. Same thing over here. I'm going to go back with this pink a second time. This one's okay. I can just get in there. These are such cute little rosebuds. I'm going to get a little more pink in there and a little more pink in there. Okay. So you can see I've got a lot of other color going around, lighter color going around. And now I'm going to add some tangerine twist to this mix. Oh, I'm so glad. Yes, the bundles are shipping out. We've been working fast and furious, trying to get those bundles out to everybody as quickly as possible. Okay, so a little bit of tangerine twist. And again, if you prefer something softer, you could go with peach Bellini or sweet mango. But again, I'm using a light hand. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that in there and a little bit of that down here, just to get some orange in there. Same here. And then I'll just add a little in there and a little in there. Now I'm going to go back with that pink, and I'm going to fill in a little heavier around the perimeter. And then I'm going to go back with the orange again and fill in a little bit over the orange spots. So you see now my flower is getting more vibrant, but I'm really able to see the orange and the pink. I don't want it to look all pink. I don't want it to turn a solid new color between them. I definitely want to see those differences between the orange areas and the pink areas. So get a little more pink in there. Okay, so let's take this off and see what these flowers look like. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's great to see you coming in on a Thursday crafternoon. If you're looking for Tom, oh, look at that. Sami, look at those colors. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. Okay, so now, now what we're going to do is we are going to stagger these two. We're going to bring them in like right about there, coming in. No, you know what we're going to do? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take the tidy towel and clean this stencil off. Let me get my washi tape off, because this is something that I do a lot when I'm making cards just instinctively, but I always forget to talk about it. So when you have a flower stencil like this, you tend to want to use it the way the stencil was designed. But when you flip it, you get a whole different look from the flowers. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to create some flowers that are kind of coming in here like this. See that? We're going to add those right there. Okay. So once again, I'll tape this down here. I'm using that same piece of Masking Magic. I'm going to tape it here and here. But then I also want to block off these flowers. So I'm going to use a little more Masking Magic. It's not necessary. You can use a Post-it note, but I just want to block those off. I'm going to block that one off too. Okay, so now I only am using these two flowers. So I'm going to do the same thing again. It doesn't matter which one you start with. So this time I'll start with the orange. It really doesn't matter. So I'll get a little orange in here on the sides. And just be mindful that there's an open edge here. So if you're a messy ink blender, you can do a Post-it note over there to block that off. But if you're not messy, just kind of stay within this area here and you won't have any problems. All right. Now I'm going to go back. I'm not even going to reload pink on this brush because I've got a lot of pink on there. I'm going to bring that in heavy in the center. I love these colors. I'll get a little more orange in there. And then we'll go a little heavier on the pink. Okay. Now let's see what those look like. I feel like I missed a little thing there. Okay. Everybody's saying hi to you, Sammy. Yeah. No Tom today. Tom is away on a business trip. He left on our anniversary. So we haven't had our anniversary yet, but actually next week, Tom and I are going to celebrate our anniversary. So we are not going to be here next Thursday, but we'll be here next Tuesday. I'm going to have Rena with me next Tuesday. She promised. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in a rose down here at the bottom, and I'm going to turn that just to have a different orientation a little bit. I'll put it right there. And then I will block that off. And then we have to block that off too. So we'll block that off right there. Okay. Same thing. I've got the orange loaded up here. I know everybody's excited to see Rena. It's been a while. When I told her that I was going to need somebody to work the controls on a Tuesday night, she was like, I am down. I miss everybody. So she's very excited to be here. Of course, you never know what you're going to get when it comes to Rena. And if you don't know my daughter, Rena, definitely show up on, on Tuesday because she's delightful, but she's a little crazy. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Oh, they look so pretty. And then I think I'm going to wait. I'm going to put the leaves on here first. And then I am going to... On YouTube, my phone shows orange. Well, it is kind of orangey, but it's really hard. I mean, all screens are different depending on the way you have your screen set up. I remember one time we were looking at our screen at home and there's all these settings like vibrant and cinema, and you put it on cinema and it gets real like soft, and you put it on vibrant sports mode and all the colors get really bright. So it could be that. Okay, so now we're going to lay our greenery over this, and because I kind of turned this, I kind of have to line it up and see where it goes. Now I'm going to show you what to do right here, because you see how this greenery is going to go over that rose. Oh, this is probably driving all of my friends that like things straight nuts. There we go. So first I'm going to get this stencil put down. And then I'm going to take a little piece of Masking Magic, or you can use a Post-it note for this. And I'm going to block off this whole thing. I'm going to use this straight edge right there, like that. Just blocking that off. So that's not going to get into that flower. Oops, see this? I got to move this though. This one down here is going to get into the flower. So let's just shuffle that to the side a little bit. And that's going to look good, I think. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now for my ink, I'm going to use some soft stone ink. Yeah, it's a Gina show on Tuesday night. Goodness, I'm already sweating. Sweating that a little bit. Okay. Yes, thank you very much, Debbie. That's true. YouTube has different settings. And if you're setting, the little gear is set for low quality, and they give you that option because some people still have very slow internet, it's going to be blurry. But if you switch it to high quality HD, I think there's SD and HD. If you set it to HD, you're going to be able to see me clearly. Okay. So now I want to show you something about these leaves. These leaves have, let me see if I have another stencil laying around here somewhere. I think I do, that I was playing with earlier. But if you can see, these leaves are freestanding. See how that moves? Okay. So if you start getting real vigorous, you could possibly break them. They're very delicate. So what you want to do is you want to ink blend from the spot where it's attached to the stencil outward. You don't want to ink blend this way because you're going to catch this and you're going to bend it up, and that could break it. Okay. So you want to go in this direction. All right. So I'll show you that. So I'm going to use some of this Stormy Sky ink. I may have said soft stone. Did I say soft stone? I'm going to start here, and I'm going to just work that up in the direction that the stencil is attached. See that? Same thing here. I'm going to work that this way. Just a nice kind of swipey stroke. It doesn't have to be a swirly stroke. I like that gray. Same thing here. I'm going to get this leaf. And it'll still look nice. Remember, our ink has a smoothing agent, so even if it looks a little bit blotchy, just give it a little bit of time, and it really does smooth out. There we go. And that also creates a little bit of darkness closer to where the veins of the leaves are, and that gives it a little shading. So that'll look pretty nice. Okay, we're going to pull that. All righty. Ooh, yeah, that looks pretty. I love the gray. Don't you love the gray? This is Stormy Sky. So instead of using green, and I always tend to go to green, this is just so much more attractive looking to me. I love it. I really love it. Okay, now remember we flipped the stencil over for this? I'm not going to flip the stencil over for this one. I'm going to do these one at a time. I'm just going to line this up here because this looks like a good spot for it right there. And you can kind of just put your greenery or grayery in this case, wherever you want it. So again, I am going to block this off a little bit down here because I really don't want to go over the edge. And again, same thing, just working that gray ink in the direction that the stencil is attached to. This little part of the stencil is attached. I'm going in that direction toward the open end of the stencil. Okay. So there we have that one. That's pretty. Okay, so now for this one, I'm going to have to flip the stencil. So I am going to have to clean the stencil before I do that, or else I'm going to just blob all this gray right on it, and I don't want to do that. So I will get my tidy towel again and just wipe this down. Now, when you're wiping this stencil down, don't be vigorous. The same way you ink blend, you want to wipe toward where it's, from where it's attached to where it's free, or else you're just going to damage the stencil. It's a very delicate stencil, and we all love these delicate types of designs, but with them comes that need to be a little bit gentle when you're cleaning and when you're stenciling. Okay, so now we can, I flipped the stencil. I believe I flipped the stencil. Yes, I did. And then this one is going to go right here. Like that. Right there. That's all I'm going to do. Now, there's nothing really open around it except up there. So I'm going to give that a little bit. Let's see if we can. That'll look good. There we go. Now, the next part of this is to fill in around the perimeter. So, because we don't know where this is going to be cut. And even if we look with this die, okay, let me just straighten this die out a little bit. Even if we look with this die, that's going to look great. But see up here, there's just something missing. And same with over here. So I feel like we need maybe just a little bit more gray. And the way I'm going to achieve that is I'm going to just flip this, and I'm going to rest a leaf right in here, right there. I'm just going to add that. Like that. So that's coming in from the top. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to use a little bit of this part right here. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do this little bit. I don't even know if you'll see that, but I'm going to block this off right here, just so I can get this little bit. Now I can move that over a little, and I can get a little more of it in there. I know I'm not going to see much of it, but I think that'll work. Maybe down a little bit more like that. Because we are going to cut some of that off. So we'll see. We'll see how it looks. Yeah, there we go. Now, if we look at that, the colors that I'm using are Tangerine Twist, Passionate Pink, and Stormy Sky. If we look at that and we cut that out, that's going to look really nice. But there's going to be one little spot right there that I'm going to want to see something in. And I don't mean to be picky about it, but I'm going to be a little picky about it. So I think we'll just do this tiny little bit right here, just having that come in. Okay, I think that's going to look good. We can always go back and add more if we need to, but because I'm using a stitched die, it's hard to ink blend over the stitching. So if you see a little something that you think you want to add something to, just do it beforehand. I think a little gray right here, maybe right like that. There we go. Okay, that's going to be the ticket right there, because everything is going to have something coming out of it. Isn't that just a beautiful background? It's so pretty and so fun. All right. So now I'm going to get my die cutting machine. Let me get rid of some of this. I'd love to see what you guys come up with this, because I think that there are so many beautiful color combinations that you can use. And they're all going to be beautiful if you add gray as your secondary color. So if you did like a turquoise and maybe a purple mix for the flowers, that gray will look fantastic. If you do red and pink, it'll look beautiful. If you do orange and yellow, that gray is always going to be that fantastic greenery color. It sounds funny to say gray and then say greenery, but you guys know what I mean. Okay. So now I'm going to get my die cutting machine again, and I think I'll back up just a little bit here. Thank you, guys. I'm glad you like it. All righty. So I'll get my die cutting plates, and we're going to cut this out. So the die that I'm using is our Master Layouts 2 die set. I'm going to use the stitch die just to give it a little bit of a delicate edge, and I'm going to use the flat die to give it the black background. I know, black. I know you're all shocked with that. Okay. So we're going to make sure we cut a little bit of that rose off there. And that's why I definitely wanted to have a little bit of extra going around the outside, so we just have that nice edge to cut off, and it would look really finished, and we wouldn't have to worry too much about stenciling over stitches. This is actually a cute little frame, isn't it? I feel like I could use that for something. Okay. So now, I don't know if you guys can see that okay, but there is that little stitched edge, which makes it look really elegant. Yes, definitely. This would be a great background for lots of the stencils that we have. We've got our big, delightful blooms, and we've got some of our other two-step designs that you can use if you didn't get this kit. But I'm a rose girl, and I'm really excited about how pretty these roses look. And see, something like this with this color combination, if you just joined us, I had talked a little bit earlier about the idea that with the gray, it just takes it takes it down just a little bit, like a little more peaceful. And then something like this could be easily used as a sympathy card, but yet it could still be used as a beautiful wedding card or 25th anniversary card with a silver card base. There's just so many ways to use it, and that gray really makes a difference to me. All right. And if you don't have that gray, you could try Moonlit Fog, because Moonlit Fog, although it's a gray, it's a green gray, so that would still look really pretty. Now I'm going to get a black piece of cardstock, and I'm going to cut this out. I'm just going to turn it a little bit because it cuts easier when it's going through on an angle. I don't like to do that when I'm trying to center something because I feel safer when I see it going through straight. Okay. All right, let me wipe off the dust, because remember I said I was going to get a clean plate for my white, and well, the clean plates are sitting on my desk in the other room. All righty, there we go. And you can see that nice little shadow layer and how that just brings everything together. I love it. Now here's something else that I wanted to do. So I had cut a bunch of strips off of cardstock. You know how when you're doing cardstock and you're cutting a little bit off to make it a little bit stronger. So yeah, I guess it's a little weird to save the strips, but I did. I happened to save some strips. And I feel like this card, although you could put a nice big bold greeting on here, you know, it would look great. But I wanted to do something a little more delicate with this card, and I tried a delicate greeting, and it just got lost because all of this is overpowering. And let me show you what I mean. So I actually stamped and cut one of the Thankful for You greetings from the Radiant Roses stamp set. That's this right here. So I cut one of those. I stamped it and cut one. And I thought, oh, this is going to be perfect. It's going to look great. And then I put it on here, and it just got lost. Like it's not bold enough, right? So I came up with this idea, and I thought it just changed everything. So I have this strip, and it's about 1/4 of an inch strip, maybe a little bigger, but about 1/4 of an inch will work. And then what I'm going to do, I don't want it to move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tape it down on the edges. Let's see here. I'll tape it down there. And we'll tape it down there because I don't want it to move. I want it to be straight when I do this because I can't turn it once I do this. So I am, let's see. Where did my other die go? Oh, here it is. Let's see. So I am using this stitch die that I cut this panel out with. And I'm going to position that. It doesn't matter where. I'm just going to position it on this die, and then I'm going to tape the die down. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want my stitches to line up. So I guess I could have taped this all together and then die cut it, but it's really hard to get a clean edge when you are putting several sheets of cardstock through one die. These dies are wafer thin dies, but I am trying to create, I have to look at this. I got to hold it up and see if it's straight. I don't think it's perfectly straight. So let me make it look a little more straight. Gotta look at it again, holding it up. Yep, that looks better. So what I want to do is I want to continue the stitches here so that when you look at this up close, all of this stitching is going to run right through this strip. And you can do this with big white borders and other things. So it really creates that continuity going along the edges when you have a border strip going along on a die cut that has stitching. Okay. So now I've cut this strip to fit. And it's got the little stitches on the side. And I know that they're really hard to see, but when I take high quality pictures of this, you're going to be able to see the difference. Okay. Oh no, what's going on? Who said something rude? Somebody say.
She was talking about how her coworkers keep trying to talk to her while she's busy.
Oh, how rude. I agree. That's so funny. Okay, so I want to show you one more little tip, especially if you're new here. I know that we have a lot of people that are newer stampers that are joining us. And even if you're not a newer stamper, this may just remind you to do this. So I'm going to remind you of how to get that perfect die cut border. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut one of these so you can see it cut. So I'm going to grab my Misty and I'm going to stamp that up here in the corner with some black onyx ink. We're going to have to get this stamp set out, and I'm going to have to do some stamping techniques with this as well. You got to see some of that coming up. All right, so we'll just do it right up here. And then my ink pad was open. Okay. And I'm going to ink that up. And because this is such a delicate design, I'm not putting a ton of pressure on this. I'm inking it several times. I'm just lightly putting pressure on, but I'm inking it several times to get it nice and black. But you can see it's such a delicate design that we don't want to lose that delicate image by squishing it down and spreading out the photopolymer from. Phyllis, you can order this bundle on our website. It's ginakdesigns.com. And you just hit the shop tab and it's in the what's new category, but I think it's on page 2. Okay, so now we have that. Now we're going to die cut this. Yeah, if you like this live, which I really appreciate if you give it a thumbs up, there's a benefit to both of us. So if you give my video a thumbs up, that's a benefit to me because it will help my channel get out there to other people who are looking for stamping ideas. But it's also a benefit to you because on YouTube, when you like a video, it's the same as saving it. So you can find it again easily. So if you like the video and then you go back to your YouTube, you can look in your account and see your liked videos. And that's where you can find all the ones that you liked and then you thought you'd never be able to find them again. They will be right there. So You can also create a playlist and add videos that you like to the playlist on your own channel, even though nobody will see it if you don't want to have a YouTube channel. That's totally fine, but I think you need to have one in order. Everybody here that's commenting has a YouTube channel, whether you know it or not, because that's the way you comment. Isn't that right, Sami? They have to have a YouTube account. Okay, so here's the die. Now I'm going to get a tiny scrap of paper here. It could be black, it could be any color. I think I'm going to use something kind of thin. Let me find an old thin piece in my scrap box. Here's a little piece. I'll just cut this down. Right. So I'm going to cut a little thank you die out of this little scrap here. And I know those of you who've been with me for a long time, you've seen me do this a lot. Yeah, Shauna, if you're on YouTube, right, you're coming in from Facebook. I can see that on my screen. But if you have a YouTube account, you can watch these videos on YouTube and you can like them, and that saves them for you so they're easy to find later. YouTube is really very organized. And I'm going to cut this out and make a little template for myself. And then I'm going to get my piece of cardstock with my stamped image. And then I'm going to place this so that it's perfectly centered, so it looks good to me, like that. Sometimes when you die cut, even though you can see through, it shifts around a little bit, and it doesn't always look as perfect as you want it to look. So this allows you to see exactly how it's going to look. And then, yes, Elizabeth, you can save videos on Facebook too. That's true. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to take the die and I'm going to pop it into that template that I made, and you'll feel it snap into place. And once it's in place, then you can use a little washi tape to, yes, you could store this template with the die for further use. That's exactly right. That's great, Sally. Thank you. We're just going to put it there. Now I know it's going to cut in the right spot. So I'm going to cut that. We're doing a lot of die cutting today. Oh, look at my messy plates. I need to get my white plates out so you can see it is cut perfectly, right? That makes it so easy. And then like Sally said, just save this little template that you made so you don't have to make one every time. They do get old after a few tries, but certainly can get several of them out of it. And then I just peel that off and then save this little template with my die set in the back of that stamp pocket, and then they're ready to go whenever you need them. And if you use a low-tack tape like washi tape or masking magic strips, it doesn't damage the template. Okay. I know sometimes I forget those tips, you know, I come up with it and go, oh, that's a good idea. I got to use that again. And then I even forget. So sometimes it's good to be reminded, even if you've been with me for a long time and you've seen that tip more times than you care to. Okie dokie. Now we're going to assemble this card. So I'm going to get my big paper cutter because I think the perfect card base for this is definitely going to be Stormy Sky. I want to play off of that gray color. So I've got some Stormy Sky here, and I'm going to cut this down to 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. You're right, Ruth. You do have to be careful not to throw away the die. I have done that. You guys remember, many of you were with me when I threw my leaves away and I never found them. That was a sad day. So you do have to take them off that little piece of cardstock. And then I'm going to score this at 5 1/2 inches. White rose colors, you know, I think that kind of depends. If you were going to do white roses, I might actually consider using a sponge dauber and doing it on a darker cardstock, like maybe craft or even navy, and just tapping in some white pigment ink and then letting it dry. You guys remember, that's a great question. You guys remember the card that I made in my live video with that just really lightly using that white ink? If you stamp it a couple times, it'll get much whiter, but just very lightly using white ink will give you that soft, almost very pale gray look. And so you could do roses like that using white pigment ink if you wanted the roses to be white. And then, of course, you guys remember this little thing that I did. I used just peach Bellini or innocent pink, I think, and sweet mango. And I used the poly glaze sheets and the stencil with that. So there's just so many different mix and match things with this little bundle. I just love it. Okay. Let me get a piece of craft cardstock underneath this so you can see it. This is too much gray with my gray tabletop. So we'll just get this back again. And then you're able to see the gray cardstock. All right. So first I'm going to adhere these two panels together. That's a great idea, Deborah. Yes, you could do the line art image roses in a gold or a silver, and then you could bleach them out to white. And if you haven't seen me bleach, I've got lots of bleaching videos on YouTube where I use bleach as a coloring tool. Is this bundle a limited edition? No, this is going to be a regular bundle for us. It is limited in how many are left right now, and then it will take a little while to reorder them. So if this is something you want, I definitely would get it. But this one I think is going to stay in our collection for a while because it's too pretty. The color cardstock that I'm using is the Gina K Designs Layering Weight White. It is pretty stark white. It could be the lighting or it could be the monitor you're watching it on, but it is a bright white. But it's not so white where it's like almost blue. So it is a beautiful white. And now, remember when I told you like we put this on here and it like you can't even really see it? So when you put this little strip on here, you just find a little spot to add that strip. Then watch this. See how that just pops so much? It just draws your eye to it more. I love that. I really like the way that looks. Oh yeah, you could definitely use a lighter gray if you prefer. We'll get this on here. I'm just lining up the stitches a little bit. There we go. And then we'll add that. You know what? I'm going to move that because I love our tape runner because it's forgiving for a little bit. And then you can rub this off. See that? It doesn't leave residue behind. You can just rub it right off. But I want to get it over this spot right here where there's a little emptiness. There we go. That looks better. Definitely better. Okay. Now we'll pop that right on there. And I'm going to let, you can decide, do you like it up a little higher? Do you like this kind of resting on it? How do you like it? I want to see a little bit of the black underlying the word thankful because it just makes it pop out a little bit more. And if you want, you can use foam tape for that to pop that up. So why don't we do that? We'll see how that looks. I really like, I know I just disappeared. I really like the ThermoWeb tape. It is so huge. But ThermoWeb is actually making some new products for me, some new foam products. I know you guys are missing the foam, the Gina K Designs foam squares and stuff. We've got some really fun stuff coming out. So stay tuned for that, for foam and tape and stuff. Now, an easy way to cut this foam tape, because it's sticky on the back, take the empty part of your Masking Magic sheet and just pop it onto there. Now you've got your own do-it-yourself liner, and it'll be easy to just cut a little strip without getting your scissors all gunked up. And then you can take that off, and you can place that on the back. We'll do another little piece here. Yeah, I mean, don't throw away those liners because they're great for any other sticky products you want to use. I'm telling you, our craft rooms are just full of scraps, aren't they? Oh my goodness. Alrighty. And we will line that up so that we get to see that black line under there. Just making sure that for you is straight. And there we go. Now we could add a few sequins onto this card. Maybe that would be pretty. Let's take a look and see what the little silver pearls look like on here. All right. I'm going to just add a few just to see. Oh, they're pretty on there. That might be a little big, but there's an opening down here. They're hard to, these are like turtles. They get on their back and you can't get them upright. Oh, let's see what else. Here's a small one. Let me get my jewel picker, my pick and stick tool. I know it's somewhere around here. Oh gosh, here it is. I've been losing more things. See, I put this on wrong. I want to show you something about our pick and stick tool. We have more on the way. The silver cap goes on the silver end and the white cap goes on the white jewel picker end. And then you always end up opening the right end. And you can see I opened the wrong end because I put it on wrong. I just want to see what these look like. Maybe just a few. Oh, I think they're pretty. I think they look really pretty. Is this smaller? Yeah, that's a little smaller. Let's put one there. Let's put this up here. Let go. Do you guys like that placement? I like 3s and 5s. So maybe I'll add a couple more. But I like them in the open spaces. Maybe that's just too big. I'm putting a couple more on here just to see. I'm not sticking them down yet. I'm just kind of deciding where I want them. Maybe. I like the big one there because it's kind of a big open spot. Maybe one up here. What do you think? You guys like those? The first one's too big, you think? Also, I think I should have put a little sticky tape under here. So if you do this same layout, just take another little piece of sticky foam tape. Here we go. I'm going to try to do surgery. We'll get back to this. I'm going to try to do surgery and stick this under here. And let's see if I can get it out with my picker. Because, you know, I don't want this getting crushed when I mail it. There we go. There, that's better. Now that's going to stay down better. Okay. Surgery. Maybe I'll just put 3, and maybe I'll just do little ones. Just do one there. Do one there. Maybe I could put one over here. I love the different sizes, though. What if I put one here, and then I remove that one and go just one size bigger, not the real big one, like that? That's kind of nice. What do you think, Sammy?
I think that looks great.
You like that?
Yeah.
Okay. I just need somebody to say yes.
Yeah, that was nice.
Okay. So I'm going to get some of my Connect glue. Got a whole bunch of bottles here. I refilled all my Connect glues. So I'm going to take these off. And then, oh no. When they turn over, it's a disaster. There we go. And the one thing I want to tell you, and I always do it wrong, but let me just give you a close-up of this. This is a little jewel picker tip. If you try to pick up heavier things like this and you try to go on the side, they don't pick up. You have to have your jewel picker straight up and down to pick them up with the tip, and then they pick up very easily. Same with placing them. Place them straight down and they seem to place better. All right, we'll do a little spot right there. That was a lot. I'll suck some of that back. and one up here. I feel like I could do 2 more like up in here, but maybe that's overdoing it, and I don't want to overdo it. Move that down just a little. Okay. So there's my finished card. Now, you could also have put a few along here to make a line. But there is my finished card. Add 5. Somebody wants me to add 5. Okay. Let's see. Somebody else is going to scream, no, don't add 5. I'm not adding them yet. We're just going to look at them. I don't know. Yeah, I think it would be pretty, but I think I'm going to leave well enough alone because I'll do something wrong and I'll be right at the end of the card and then the whole thing will fall apart. Okay, well, that is my finished card project. And we are going to give this card away when Tom gets back. So I'm going to collect all of these cards and we're just going to have a big card giveaway evening when he comes back. Or maybe we'll even do it on Tuesday night with Rena. We're going to save a couple and do them all together. Oh, the word of the day. Yes, let me give you the word of the day. Okay, so word of the day. So Tom and I were sitting at the counter the other day and we were talking. And we were talking about how, like, we have a little patio outside of our kitchen and we will take like lemonade or drinks or whatever out there in glass cups. And I said to him, you know, it always worries me. I mean, it's not like we have a pool out there or anything, but still, you know, Mishi, Rena's little dog, comes over and plays in the grass. And I'm always afraid to drop a cup and have it shatter. And I said, I'd love to get like unbreakable glass cups. So I went on Amazon and I typed in unbreakable glass. And I found these cups. They were unbreakable glass and I ordered them. And when they came, they were plastic. And so, but they're crystal clear. They're beautiful, but they're plastic. So I said to Tom, I don't know, are these glass or are they plastic? Let's just call them Glastic. So that was my word of the day, Glastic cups. So that's what we're drinking out of now, Glastic cups. They look like glass, but they're plastic. All right, everybody. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's card project, and I hope you'll give this one a try. Please share with me any of these that you do with other stencils in our collection, or when you get your bundle, make sure you share them in our Facebook group. I'll be taking a picture of this and uploading some high-quality photos here on YouTube and also on Facebook. And I will be back this weekend with another 5-minute card video. Then next Tuesday, fingers crossed, Rena's going to be joining me. And then I'll have a couple of pre-recorded videos when Tom and I are out celebrating our anniversary. In the meantime, everybody, you stay safe and healthy. Sami, thank you again. We appreciate your help this afternoon. I pulled her away from her desk and her piles of things she has to do. Thank you, Sami. Stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.